Alrighty. So welcome everybody to the show of Project U. A quick introduction. Today we have Sensei Medhat Darwish at San Samurai Koryukan. This is it's a person that we see pretty much as family, and we feel as part of his family. It's really our kid has a very close connection with him, and just between the two of us, he listens to Sensei more than he listens to us. So sometimes we'll call Sensei and ask him, put him back in, on the path and all this. So welcome to the show, Sensei. If I may share a little story before we start. So the way it all started was actually friends of ours, Sensei Branimir and Luisa. They told us about like how fascinated they are with the dojo. And, I raised my hand, I've always been for martial arts, Eastern philosophy, and all this, but my wife's like, oh, we have to put him at the. I was like, okay, no, listen, he's still young, our kid was like 5, 6 at the, at this, time. So I was like, okay, listen, give him some time and this and that. And she's like, no, it works very well for Carlos. I'm like, okay, just chill. So, and what happened was one summer we signed Constantine up for a summer camp with, it was one summer camp was outdoors. And then we signed him up for Samurai Koryukan. And what happened was at the other day camp, which was like scheduled before, like 2 weeks before, 2-3 weeks before San Samurai, the kids there, it was a very small group, and the kids, there was just 2-3 other kids, and they were like significantly stepping on my tongue here, significantly older than Constantine. So they weren't like teasing him or whatever, but he was like kind of left out, they wouldn't play a lot with him. And then one day, like I saw how they were like, just leaving him alone. So I got pissed. I admit I yelled at the supervisors, like young kids too, like teenagers, but I told them, listen, how can you let them do this to my kid, blah, 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 blah. And I put him in the car and I said, listen, son, you don't have to go through this. Like, we'll find another place. And we went to the dojo, and your daughter Amani was there, and the feeling was completely different. And I dropped him off, and I consoled him a little bit, and I told him, listen, this is gonna be different, blah blah blah. And I pulled Amani aside, and I told her, listen, like, please, do what you can to put him. Like, she was like, no, don't worry. Like, I was like, okay, but all day long, I was like, oh my God, did I take him from one, in like one wrong place to the other, like all day long? I couldn't like, okay, so, and in the evening I go, it's like he's shining. And he's like jumping and running and like, oh my God, okay, what's going on here? So, and I talked a little bit with Amani. I don't know if you were there or not, that doesn't really matter. So, and then we leave, and we're about to leave. And it's like, hold on, I gotta go give a hug to Sam. So he goes and he hugs Sam, like he doesn't want him, let him go. It's like, oh my God, thank you, God, So we go and we jump in the car. And before we signed him up for the martial art of Aiki Jiu-Jitsu and Daito, we tried some other places, like karate, judo, we wanted him to find his thing. And he was very young at the time, but we kept telling him, listen, as soon as you find your thing, all we want is for you to do a martial art of some sort. As soon as you find your thing, we're fine. We're not gonna force you. We're not gonna tell you, do this, you do that, but we just want you to find your thing. You find it, we're done. Like we accept it, and that's the way it's gonna be. So he was 5, 6 at the time, and I put him in the car. I said, how was it? La la la. He's like, oh, da, 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 da. So like 2-3 blocks away, he says, Daddy, you know, I found my thing. I was like, okay, thank you, God. So this is the story that leads up to, you know, how we ended up, you know, as part of this, of the community. And so I'll let you, Sensei, introduce a little bit, you know, tell a little bit about the dojo and your, like, we find it's a completely unique approach. We've like, probably some of this exists somewhere, but it's really something, you know, that we really appreciate, and we see that a lot of people do as well. So I'll let you, you know, introduce a little bit and share your, you know, your philosophy and your point of view on this beautiful thing.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for inviting me to the interview, for thinking about me. I appreciate it very much. Martial art, fascinated by martial art, and the part of developing people, the part of developing others to reach their full potential. This always been something that I had. So the story that you just said about you and Constantin, it's very similar to others. It's very similar to others. When I established the dojo, that was the exact thing that I was aiming for. I wanted the members with their family to feel a sense of they belong, a sense of community, a sense of family. It also has something to do with the essence of the art. The last soke, the head of the school, the head of the family, Soke Tokimoni Takeda, he said that Daitorio is the art of personal development.
Yeah.
And as I practice day after day, month after month, year after year, I get to understand more and more about what he said. I also see it in all the members, how they're developing, whether they're kids or grown up. I see how they're developing. So the fact that he said that it's the art of personal development, it means it's a lifetime martial art.
Yeah.
It's not something that you study for a short period of time and you get good at it and that's it. So it's the journey.
Yeah.
That is important. It's not a race. It's the journey that is important, right? This is life. Life is a journey. It's experience. So we learn from our experience, right? And there's a big difference between life and school. In school, they teach you something and they give you a test.
Yeah.
Right? But in life, it's the opposite. Life gives you a test and you learn from it. So you see, so that's how I started.
Beautiful.
When I first started thinking about establishing a group, a center, I had these in mind. I had these points in mind. And once it was established, it needed a lot of energy, a lot of time to transmit, because it's all about transmitting, right? To transmit not just the art. The art is the tool. It's the ship that will take us somewhere. It will take us to the personal development, to develop, to become better as human beings. And as the group started to grow and people found themselves in the center, because for sure it's not for everyone. The way I built the dojo, it's not for everyone. Some people are looking for something short term. They're not interested in a philosophy. They're not interested in but this is what I think it's the most important thing in life is you develop, you become better. So it appealed to certain people, and those people will speak to others. And that's how it appeals to
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking, you will join and experience how their son and their daughter developing, and this is the best.
Yeah, that's how
this is the best, right?
That's
and
how we were introduced by Branimir.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the best. It's the best. Like we make advertisement as a center, because it's a business and we need to have members. We need to, we have overhead to cover.
Yeah.
But there is nothing better than the word of mouth from, a friend, a colleague, a family member. This is the best because you know exactly what to expect. A dojo is it's tricky when you walk into a dojo. If I'm walking into a dojo and I want to sign up, I don't know what to expect. So I try to learn as much as I can about the place, the sensei, the students. You see. So, but when you have that from someone that you trust, that you know, it's completely different, right? You're already comfortable. And I want to tell you something. I want to share this with you. In Japan, in like classical martial art, like daito, you could not just join a dojo just like that. You could not just walk into a dojo and say, I want to sign up.
Really?
You had to be recommended by someone.
Wow.
So in your case, let's say Branimir, exactly. Branimir will come and present you, will say, this is my friend Ilan. He's a very nice person. Please accept him at your dojo to teach him.
Amazing.
You see how things are different. But I think it's the best way. I think it's the best way.
Totally. I'll revert back to this, a little bit down the line because I'll have like similar questions related to this one. But I just wanted to open parenthesis. Now that you said this, I remember was some time ago, and obviously, as you said, doesn't work for anyone, like for everyone this way. But I don't know if you've heard, there was a restaurant somewhere in, was it in Los Angeles or somewhere in California? I don't know. So their philosophy of the restaurant was that they're going to build, like apparently, the founder had like very deep pockets and this and that, but they said, we're not going to advertise at all. We're not going to take people at the door. Like, if it's like they open the restaurant physically, it's there. But they said, we're not going to, a little bit like the dojo said, we're not going to advertise. We're not going to accept people who just show up. The only way to enter the restaurant, well, obviously it was a very, very exquisite and unique experience and this and that, like really, 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 creme de la creme. But they said, the way we're going to build it is the only way to get in is going to be through the phone number. And the phone number, we're only giving it to members, people who know the place, and they can only give it like to their friends. So the only way, as you said, like to get into the restaurant would be to find somebody who's already been there.
Yeah.
And like, so yeah, it's really a completely different approach to the way people build business now. But I mean, everybody has their own business model. I wanted to ask you to open parenthesis. Now, you said in life and in school, it's different. And like, I really like this. So the test comes first and then comes the lesson. Would you be able to share a story, with you personally, where like you have been put to the test first and then the lesson has come? If you can like...
I believe all of us have been through tests in life, right? That's how life is.
Yeah.
That's how life is. I will give you just as an example, because we're talking about the center and we're talking about martial arts.
Yeah.
When I established the center.
Mm-hmm.
So the center was established in my basement at first.
Mm-hmm.
We made a small place in my basement, and that's how we started growing. But when we started growing and moving outside and having our own local, that was completely different because you start to have other costs, big costs like rent, hydro. If you don't have enough members, you survive. That's how you can pay your bills, right? Through membership. If you don't have enough membership, then so this is the test, and this is the lesson that you have to learn. So you start learning how to. Because it's a different business. It's not a restaurant business where I can look at other restaurants and see what they did, or a warehouse, manufacturing, IT. It's different. We're in the business of personal development.
Yeah, it's a completely different story. Yeah, okay.
Right?
Very good.
So I had to look into all that stuff, and every day we have tests. Every day. It could be financial tests, right? How to make ends meet.
Yeah.
It could be tests with students that they're having issues, whether at school, at work, family. That's why it's an experience, and you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy the experience, whether you do good or you don't do good. There is a lesson to learn, and you have to learn it. So I always look at that lesson. I always look at the positive inside the negative.
Yeah. Very good philosophy. Very good philosophy. I think I've heard something similar from you, but I remembered some similar experience I've had with I think he was coaching also in something. So he said, I've had 45 combat, style. I know in Nike Jiu-Jitsu, this is what I really, really appreciate. Something else, about Nike Jiu-Jitsu, that competitions I think are different than like karate and stuff. This is one more thing that I really love. But anyway, this instructor was, I think he was in karate or something. So he said, like, I've had 45 or 46, clashes, combat. And he said, and I've never lost. I have 23 wins and then 22 lessons. Yeah. So it's exactly what you're saying. If you see everything as something to learn out of it, it changes completely one's perspective. So yeah, this is one more thing I really, really appreciate. Just to switch gears a little bit, you're from Egypt, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been to Egypt. It's like such deep heritage, like everywhere you turn, there's like some like monument or statue. We were amazed, like really blown out of the water, like seriously. So you come from Egypt, you study and teach very beautiful ancient martial art from Japan, I think. Originates from Japan, and you end up in Canada. Would you, if you wouldn't mind, expand, like pull up the curtain a little bit on how come a person from Egypt ended up in Montreal teaching Japanese martial arts? I think it's going to be an interesting story.
Yes, it's very special. You're right. I always had passion for martial art, like I said in the beginning of the interview. But that time when I was in Egypt, what was available was karate, taekwondo, and judo.
Okay.
I started with karate, but I always thought that there is something more to it. Of course, the information wasn't available as it's available today.
Yeah.
We live in information
overflow.
Yeah, time right now, internet, YouTube, and you can find anything you want. But back in the days, it was only the library. And the library, if you can find the books for a certain subject, then that's what it is. But when I moved to Canada, I came to visit my aunt and uncle when I was 17. I loved it. 2 years later, I moved to Canada. And I started looking for martial arts. So the first thing that came to my mind was to restart my karate, right? But then there were more information available. So I started looking and I saw a demonstration on television about Aikido.
Okay.
I was fascinated. So I started reading about Aikido. I started learning about Aikido. Found out that Daitorio is the mother art, is the root.
Okay.
So I started searching for Daitorio. And again, back in the days, internet was not available. So it was books, magazines. Daitorio was very difficult to find information about Daitorio, not as today. And that's how I started with Daitorio. And ever since, I never stopped. I was fascinated by it. And that's how I started. But my passion started to get deeper and deeper and deeper. Then I started to see that it fits with my personality to transmit this beautiful information, this beautiful art to others. And the dojo started to grow. I started to see that there's a lot of people attracted to the art, and they want to be around me, and they want to learn, and that's how I started to get even deeper. And I started to go to the United States for seminars. Met my sensei in the United States. He invited me to Japan. I went to Japan. I invited him several times in Montreal to have seminars and intensive trainings and camps. And that's how you pick up more.
Yeah.
Not just about the art, it's about how you're supposed to carry yourself, how you're supposed to be an example for others, right? That's how things ended up like that. So it's very special. Originally, I'm from Egypt, immigrated to Canada, and I'm teaching a Japanese martial art. I find the culture is very interesting. The Japanese culture is very interesting. When you travel to Japan, when you get to know people and get to know the culture, you start to see the value. There's a lot of stuff that we are missing here. The discipline, the dedication, how polite they are. All this stuff is extremely important. So I try to transmit this stuff, to bring this stuff from over there to here through the study of martial art. That's why the etiquette in the dojo is very important. I just have to teach them, right? Repeat it. They will pick it up, and then one day it will become natural to them. So they would do it outside. I'll give you an example. We went to Japan for an intensive training in 2014.
Okay.
2014. So our brother dojo they organized a place for us to stay. It was a specialized place for training. So it had the rooms, like a hotel. It had the dojo. It had the restaurants, the spa, washing machines to wash yourself. It had everything. So during the week, it was us from Montreal and some students from our brother dojo. Since it was outside of the city, so it wasn't easy for everybody to join us. They joined us in the weekend for a seminar, and it was the two schools together. So the beginning of the week, it was very much us. Just to give you an example, there is a rule that when you walk into the dojo, you have to take off your shoes and you put on a slipper.
Yeah.
There are slipper provided for you, so you put on a slipper. When you go to the dojo, you take off the slipper and you get on the mat. If you need to go to the bathroom, you take that slipper, you'll have to place it in a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's easy for you to get in the slipper and out of the slipper. When you get to the bathroom, at the door, you have to leave that slipper and take another slipper that is placed inside the bathroom. So this is the etiquette. That's how they do it. Knowing us, it was a mess. It was a mess. So Sensei didn't say anything. You walk into the bathroom, you see like a slipper to the far right and the other pair in the far left. It was a mess. At the end of the week, when his students came for the seminar, before he started the seminar, he said, I would like to tell you something. I didn't want to say anything through the whole week, but now I have to say it. This has to stop. When you take your slipper to the bathroom, you have to leave it outside. You place it properly, and you take the other slipper. You go to the bathroom. When you come out of the bathroom, you place your slipper properly for the next person. So in my head, I'm laughing, right? Because it's like we're there to corrupt them. We're bad. We're bad. So you see, this is something I try to bring to us. To be organized, to have things proper, clean, and in order is very nice.
Yeah, of course. You know, I wanted to share back a story about slippers and stuff, but it's like completely on the opposite. But also like very funny story. It's I went to India in 2006. So me, I'm more into like yoga and stuff. But I promise, as soon as my back is fine, like I will sign up for your classes, and I'm like I will be Konstantin's dummy. Like I promise.
You're welcome anytime.
So we went to India, like you know, but our like again, like also for like you know, what's it called, pilgrimage, or you know, like seminars, but more on the yoga thing. But still, the philosophies is very, very, you know, alike. So so we went there, but there it was the completely opposite. There, like you go to the to any like to the dining hall, or like any other place, like the meditation or something like this, you leave your slip, like you try and like really put your like shoes or slippers or whatever somewhere where you have the best chance and hope of like finding them again there. And then you walk in, and usually you go out, you spend more time looking for your slippers or your shoes or whatever than you spend inside. So at one point it gets like, oh my God, like crazy. And there was like, it was up to a point where we go to a temple. So we went like tourism and stuff. So we went to a temple, and some temples, they even had like, not like guards, but like, I don't know what you like, stewards, people where, you know, it's like completely optional, but there is this option that you pay a little bit to the steward, but it's like not even $1 or something like this, for them to keep keep the shoes in order. So there was like a protected area where if you paid, you knew that, okay,
your shoes are protected.
Exactly, and you have shoes. So it's like completely, but then again, the philosophy behind, behind your beautiful martial art and a lot of like the yoga and the Ayurveda and all this, like when you go down like deep to the bottom and the root, it's again, growing from the inside out and like really looking like to contribute and to help, not to harm even with words, people. So this is something, this is another thing why I really appreciate your art too, as well as yoga and all the like everything mentioned. And that's what I'm actually, working on building through my community that I'm like building now for, primarily for Bulgarians. So you should be very flattered. I'm joking.
Of course.
But no, it's really an honor. But anyway, so this is what I'm trying to build on my end, like to help people build themselves as professionals and the specialists, from the inside, and then let it shine through. So I wanted to switch a little bit topic again. So I wanted to go back to like Japan. You have Japan, you have Canada, you have Egypt. If we were to try a little exercise, so you already said what you are really working hard to bring from Japan to Canada. But if we were to take, let's say, try a little experiment, and let's say, okay, if you were to take one thing from, let's say, from Egypt, and to transfer, to Canada or to Japan, something that you really appreciate about your native culture, and if you were like to introduce it to one of the other places, what would it be, let's say?
I think when you look at Japan and Egypt, there are a lot of similarities.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of the appreciation for family.
Yeah.
Appreciation and respect for elder. This stuff is it's in common, right? It's very close. You see that those values, they exist.
Yeah.
But to bring something from Egypt to Japan, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. You caught me by surprise.
Yeah,
if there's something that I would do, is because they're very good at what they're very, very good at their values. Respect to elderly, family, nature, how clean the streets are.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. It's like, if there's something, it's to bring from over there, from Japan. Because they're in a complete different level. Different level.
I have heard.
Sometimes when I ask questions, they say, this is Japan.
Yeah.
This is their answer. But what does that mean?
Everything.
Like once I was trying to open a container of jam. And I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm all confused. So they wanted to help me, and they said, like, this is Japan. So what does that mean? They said, like, in Japan, they try to make life easy for everybody.
So how did you end up opening it? Like, what was the secret?
It's super easy, but there is a way to do it, right? So they make things easy, right? Like, look at childproof stuff here. It's very complicated.
Yeah. I know.
So this is Japan. They want to make life easy and simple. They try their best. They do their best, you know, to do that. Even though we live in Canada, we're an advanced country, there's a lot of stuff. It's a bit difficult here. When you look at customer service, it's amazing. It's amazing, the customer service. And we think we have good customer service. It's horrible compared to them.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I'll share a story with you. I was in Japan for an intensive training, for a training camp during the summer. It's very hot. It was very hot and humid. And the air conditioning broke down. So Sensei said, well, we have to call the dealership. I thought he's going to call the dealership. They're going to give him an appointment in 2 weeks.
Something like that.
Yeah, you know, it's hot now. We're dying, right? They gave him an appointment the following day. When we went to the dealership, the sales representative and the mechanic, they were outside of the building.
Wow.
Bowing to us when we pulled in the lot. They were bowing to us, welcoming us.
Crazy.
Right? They took his car right away into the garage to inspect and see where the problem was. And they invited us into the dealership and they offered us coffee and cookies.
Amazing.
Look at customer service. Maybe an hour later, it was done. It was done. So there is a lot. There's room for improvement. Definitely, there's room for improvement in Canada, in Egypt. Japan is in a complete different, position by itself. If there's something I think we should copy, how they do things and do it here, or do it in Egypt, or do it in Bulgaria.
Yeah, you should see customer service in Bulgaria, or the lack thereof, and then if you see customer service in Bulgaria, it's improved a lot lately. Over the last couple of years, it's improved significantly, but still, it's not yet at the level of Canada. And I mean, I haven't been to Japan. Everybody says, as you said, everybody says, it's completely, another world. It's
definitely,
it's not
definitely.
Earth. It's not Earth. So
definitely.
Yeah, me, I don't know if you've heard of the entrepreneur and author. His name is Tim Ferriss. I'm actually trying to emulate his podcast here, but mainly for Bulgarians. So yeah, he has been exchange student and this and that in Japan. He speaks Japanese too. So anyway, he says the same thing. It's everything there. He says he went there couple weeks, something like this, and he sees that. He says, everything, pretty much everything they do is reversed. It's the opposite of the way we do it.
Yes.
In the States, he's talking about himself. So he said it came to a point where he started thinking himself, oh my God, everything they do differently in Japan, everything is the opposite. I wonder what if we're doing everything the opposite, not Japan. What if the rest of the world is doing everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's if you have to you see, when they always answer, this is Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to make things easy for people and simple for people. If we think like that, if we only think like that, things will be a lot different.
One step at a time. One step at a time.
Yes, definitely.
One dojo at a time.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the Japanese society is built on Bushido code.
Yeah.
On the samurai code. That's why I stress the samurai code to my students, because there's so many lessons, there's so many things to learn from it. If you try to understand it and apply it,
the basics
will be amazing. They don't need to be practicing martial arts, but it's so drilled in them that that's how they apply it in their life, right? They're disciplined, right? When you speak about discipline, the samurai code discipline, they're disciplined. They're on time at work, they work hard. They can sleep in the train station on a bench because they missed the last train, or they can go home and come back in time. You know, stuff like that. People who work 12 hours, they're committed. They're disciplined. The respect, the etiquette. This is another point of the Bushido code. How they respect older people, kids, women. There is, you know, courtesy. It's very important. You know, you're walking in the street and you just touch shoulders with somebody. He wants to turn around and chew your head off.
Here, yeah.
Right? But it's the complete opposite in Japan, you know. He will be bowing to you, he's apologizing, and all this stuff in the Bushido code, I believe it's extremely important. If we apply it in our daily life, definitely we will develop to become better human beings.
Well, something else I've noticed with you that I wanted to touch upon as well, and I see it already in Constantine, and I see it in other kids like Sam and mainly in Sam and what was the name? I forgot the name of the other black belt, the young black
Kenyan.
So this, you know, there's difference between calm confidence that they like exude and cockiness in, like, I've seen in other athletes. You know, I don't want to tarnish any other like sport, anything like, as you said, like everybody has their own, you know, thing, and they do it and they're happy with it. But the thing with like, and with you as well, and obviously, you know, trickles down, is like it ties back into like, because as I said, like I follow a spiritual master from India. So what I see also in common is he, like the master that I follow, he says, you know, you have to act in a way, but you know, the yoga is a little bit different. But he says, you know, basically you have to act in a way where you demonstrate that you don't need to defend yourself, and then nobody will attack you. See, and like I see it slightly, you know, I see it demonstrated by you and your students, especially a little bit more advanced, like in a similar way. You know, like you and they project such a like a calm confidence around like you and them that basically, you know, it like just stifles anybody would like even like it prevents any aggression in anybody else, because like you can feel it, like like the stance and everything. It's like, okay, I don't even like, it's like it says, I don't even need to defend myself against you. So like, there's no point in you trying to attack me. It's like, you know what I'm saying, right?
It all comes down to training, time on the mat. The more time we spend on the mat, the more we develop, right? From inside out, like we were saying. So each technique that we practice is a tool for us to reach the higher goal. The higher goal is harmony.
Yeah.
This is the goal. This is the real goal, harmony. So your energy changes with training.
Different.
And with time that we spend on the mat, trained over the years, you develop and your energy develops. So you really don't need to prove, there's no need to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah. The moment you start trying to prove, you've already lost the battle. It's like,
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So really, it's all about training. There's so many lessons that you can learn from each technique.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it was said to me that each technique is a treasure. Each technique is a treasure. The more you practice it, the true treasure will appear.
Yeah, you polish it more and more.
Right? Right? So year after year, as you train, you start realizing that it's so true. Yeah. But when you're just beginning, you know, I want to learn more techniques. I want to learn how to, you know, put a lock on someone. Right? But then quickly you start understanding that it's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's much deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also another famous story about a father that gave 3 diamonds to his kids. He had 3 kids, and he gave them 3 rocks, right? He passed away, and he said, that's what I want to pass to my kids. So the first son, he looked at it. It's like, what is this? It's a rock. My father left me a rock. He threw it away. The second one, he did the same thing. The third one, he said, my dad left me this. This is so precious. And he kept on polishing it, cleaning it, till it started to shine.
And then he saw the diamond.
So it's a diamond. He saw the diamond. So this is the idea about our art, about the techniques. Beautiful. The more you practice the same technique over and over, the more you will see the treasure in it and the true benefit in it, right? So the ultimate goal of our art is harmony. Harmonize with yourself, harmonize with your opponent, people around you, work, family, harmony. It's not easy, but you need to work on it, right? Like anything in life.
When you said the story about the diamonds, this reminds me, you know, there's a similar story, like a Bulgarian fable, the same thing, but it's like, it goes slightly different. Like the father again, you know, he leaves them like, but but Bulgarian story goes, the father is, you know, he's like dying, and he's like, he tells his sons, you know, he's like 3 sons, and he says, listen, well, you know, I left you guys like a treasure, but I buried it somewhere in like in the yard. They had like a big yard, like a field, like behind the house. So he said, I buried it somewhere, but unfortunately I forgot where. So, you know, if you want to find it, you know, you'll have to dig, and you'll have to dig and plow. So, you know, so he passed away. So that's the way the story goes. So the sons, you know, all of them, they were like, oh my God, what did he do? Like, blah. So again, like 2 of them just, you know, took their stuff and they just left, you know, looking for a job or whatever it is. But the third one, apparently I don't know if it's the wisest or the stupidest, but he said, okay, well, you know what, like I'll go through the entire, you know, yard, the field, I'll plow and I'll pull out all the rocks, you know, he thought maybe it was under some of the rocks. And so he completely revamped the entire field, and he like turned it all like upside down, and he didn't find anything. So, and he just sat down. He said, oh, okay, well, you know, I did all this work and I didn't find the treasure. So, you know, while I'm at it, why don't I at least, you know, plant something? So he saw like, I don't know, some wheat or whatever. And next thing you know, next year, his yield is like probably twice the, you know, the yield of every neighbor, you know, just because he went through all the, so it's the same thing. And,
Yes.
and then again, ties back into like patience. I don't know if you've read the book. If not, I really recommend it. It's written by, the name of the guy is something with Leonard. It's about mastery, and the person is also, but he's like Aikido master. So he wrote a book on mastery, you know, the path to mastery, instruction, and like loving the practice itself, as you said, in the path. So there he speaks also about like how teaching also polishes the teacher, the instructor as well, because like you touched upon it a little bit, you know, how like by teaching, you know, you start like growing and learning yourself.
Definitely. That is so true.
So, you know, and that's why I asked you, you know, about lessons that, you know, first you were given the test and then you had to like learn the lesson, because like I really, you know, I wanted to touch upon this as well, that, you know, some like other people saying, if you want to learn something, you better start teaching it, and then you know, it goes back. So, and Konstantin was asking you about like the patience that you always, like you demonstrate patience, and you know, I really like to answer then, if you can like tell a little bit, you know, is exactly about the teachers, because I read in the book as well, you know, what you said, like when you, before you go to a dojo, you know, look at the teacher, but look at the students as well, and look at the way the teacher, you know, approaches the students. Does he only concentrate and focus on his future black belts, or so, you know, the patience in the teacher as well.
It's very important,
right?
You cannot be a teacher if you're not patient. Especially when you teach kids, right? So you have to be patient. Of course, you can develop patience. You become better at it. For me, I always try to find ways how to motivate the students to follow me, or to follow certain things that I want them to do. Like we were talking, the culture is different. So I try to, as much as I can, bring things and apply it in the dojo from Japan. Of course, not everything will work to 100%, because we live in a different society, and different culture. The temperature is different. There's so many factors. Right? But you try, you do your best. So you always try to find ways, how can I bring them in? How can I make them, the stories that I share with them? You know, sometimes when I see that they're, you know, I can't get their attention, and I will share a story with them. You know, about my teacher, or my teacher's teacher, or you know, or myself. So they're interested. And they remember this. Like when we had the interview with Constantin, he mentioned some stories. So that means he remembers. They remember this stuff.
What was it about, like the story? What was the story that he said? Like the story that he remembered, was it? It was about your, like how you started, or what was it? Like you were telling about. It was again about like loving the struggle, you know, like how you had to shower with cold water, or
yes. Now I remember. My teacher, before competition, when I was practicing karate, he would make us run the track.
Okay.
The horses track.
Uh-huh.
So it's muddy in the winter.
Yeah.
In February, that's in Egypt. It's all muddy, and he would be waiting for us on the other side, telling us why we took so long, how come we were so slow, and he would yell at us to go take a shower. But when you hit the shower, there's no hot water because he shut it off, right? So yeah, so it's to make you strong mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
It's to make you strong mentally. So I share these stories with them so they understand that, you know, life is not easy. There's many sacrifices that you have to give in order for you to achieve something, right? So this was an example. This was one example. If you like what you do and you want to advance, you want to go to a competition and win, then you have to be strong mentally.
Yeah. And now
it's a little thing. It's a little thing. Just cold shower. You know, it's a little thing.
Nowadays,
but it means a lot.
Nowadays, everyone goes to like instant gratification, you know, like, oh, okay, let me check this post, let me check. And the moment you tell someone, you know, like whatever it will take, probably, let's say like a 5-day course, maybe, let's say, oh, you're going to have to, like, you learn this and that, but it's, you know, there's 5-day course and you have to go, you know, every day, and people like, oh, like, no, 5 days in a row. No, listen, I have to watch this on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, I have to check my social. No, leave it. So this is really, really, you know, it's like really what I'm trying to like share.
That's why something like martial arts, I strongly recommend for everyone.
Yeah. Correct.
To practice something like that.
Absolutely.
Because it teaches you this, right? Yeah. You are investing in yourself.
Exactly.
Like you invest in money, you invest your money, right? You need to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Investment take time.
That's right.
Right? You don't just put money in the bank and right away it takes time. It's over years and years and years and years, right? So it's an investment. You're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
In your body, in your mind.
You have to, yeah. Okay. Another thing that I really like, there's a lot of things that I, you know, like really scratching my own curiosity here. You know, I've been to, as I said, I've been to Egypt, and I do not mean it in, I mean it in a very neutral, like objective way, looking at, you know, cultures. You know, I've been to Egypt, I've been to India, like obviously I come from Bulgaria. I've been to the States like a little bit, and there it's a completely different, like even different to Canadian culture.
Yeah.
Like in Canada, like federal, and Quebec is again, like there's differences. And like one thing I've noticed about, like, let's say if we count, like if we talk about like sales and selling, let's say. One thing I noticed in Egypt, you know, like you go to a store, like even like hotel store, like any place where there's anything, you know, to be negotiated or sold or whatever, you know, the salesperson will be like very aggressive. And it's like, again, like I do not mean it in a derogatory way at all, because let's say in India, like it's different. But then again, like in India also, like so it's different. And I don't mean it like, again, like it's completely objective. But let's say in Egypt, like it's a funny story. I mean, it's like literally a funny story. But the guy is like, there was this guy who was shoe shine. What's it called?
Polishing shoes.
Yeah, polishing shoes. So the guy said, "Oh, come, my friend, I want to polish your shoes." And I'm like, "Okay, well, listen, I don't mind." And he has like the black, you know, polish. So I said, "Listen, I don't mind, but look at my shoes. They're like white cloth shoes, like white tissue shoes, you know, like summer shoes. I'm like, look, they're like white tissue shoes. It's like, he's like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. I'm like, dude, come on. And you, it's like completely opposite. Like, I know, like, I remember you used to work as a salesperson, right? And I'm sure that your approach in sales before the dojo was exactly, you know, more or less the same way. Like, you don't try to sell the dojo and the philosophy at all, and still people, you know, the right people, they buy in. It's like, you do your sales in the completely non-salesy way.
Yes.
So it's something, and because like I'm opening this topic because like I want to basically, my philosophy for my concept, my project is to teach people who don't have a lot of experience in sales or don't want to get in sales, but to be able to sell themselves and to like promote themselves without looking pushy, without like any pressure, but at the same time to be able to show their real value, without like looking like neither pushy nor what's it called, like servile, you know, like okay, I'll do anything, blah 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 blah. So it's a very, I'm sure you know what you mean, like the balance. You know, it's a very fine balance.
It's because what we do is very, very unique, right? But it's true. My background was sales. There's also something, my late uncle that I came to visit when I was 17. He was a neuro-linguistic programmer.
Daniel.
And a life coach, very strong in sales and personal development and stuff like that. And I spent a lot of time with him. So he passed to me a lot of stuff. And it triggered interest in me. So I'm always interested in finding ways, learning how, right? Through my experience in sales, I learned a lot as well. But when it comes to the dojo, it's completely different.
Right.
It's completely different. The techniques are there, right? But it's applied differently. Because it's a business. Right? It's a business. Sorry. But it's not your typical business.
That's right.
So the selling techniques that you would use for a restaurant, for a spa, it's not the same thing. Right? It will not work. I will never have any clients if they look at me as I'm trying to sell them the dojo.
Exactly.
No. So the best way when it comes to the dojo is you work on yourself. You work, if I can work on myself and I can work on my students, right?
And it shows.
This is the selling point.
Exactly.
When you come to the dojo, you see how we do things, how we behave, how we practice, and so it sells itself.
Exactly. Sales through demonstration.
It sells itself. So I don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly.
The only thing that I worry about is myself. It's like when I first started, when I made dojo as full time and as a center, I was looking for help from the city, and they were asking me a bunch of questions. You know, one of them was, "Who's your competition?" I said, "I don't have any." Right? But he said, how come there's a martial arts school down the street? So I said, no, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, but they didn't really get it, did they?
They don't look at things the same way
No.
I see it, right?
No.
What I see is I am unique.
Yeah.
Right? I am unique. And I only work on myself. I don't worry about anybody else. Yeah. I don't want to know what is going on in the other dojo. It's not important to me. What's important to me is myself, my students. How can I teach them? How can I develop them? Right? That's what's important.
Yeah.
And this is the selling point. That's what will bring more people to come and join the dojo, and they want to support our activities. They want to support it's a community, right? It's a community. So you're building, you're making something different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. That's right. Okay. Before we switched a little bit more like quick questions and finish before the end, if you can, like we touched a little bit upon like the Bushido code, but if we can, because it's mainly a like show for professionals, for people who want to like build and improve their professional life, regardless of what they're professionals at. So whether it's an accountant or a plumber or whatever, any person who sees themselves as a professional. If you were to, let's say, reformat or reformulate the Bushido code for professionals in the workplace, regardless of whether they're like freelancers or they work in a team on a job, what would it sound like Bushido code for professionals?
This is very good. This is very good. I am sure you've been through experience in life, whether work, moving, buying something, right?
All of them.
So if you want to look at the Bushido code, when you look at honesty, honesty, and you are a professional, a plumber, a mover, an electrician, anything. If you're not honest, you are not going to have repeated business.
Comes back to bite you, yeah.
Right? Right? Okay, so you had my business once, and I saw that you're dishonest.
Yeah.
Right? So I won't deal with you again. And I won't recommend you to anybody in my circle.
Or I would rather, go and tell everybody, stay away from this guy.
Right? So how are you going to advance in life?
Yeah, comes back.
So that's why I always go back to the Bushido code. If you learn about the Bushido code, try to apply it in your daily life, you will be successful.
Yeah.
So this is one. If you're honest, you will have repeated business.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, in my case, we do advertise, but the best membership that comes to us is through recommendation. Like people recommending, right?
Yeah,
because they see how we are. They see how we are. We are all about the development of the students.
Yeah.
And I look at all those kids are like my kids, my own kids.
Yeah,
so I won't do something, right? I won't do something to my son that you see. Compassion. It's very important. If you don't have compassion in life,
you go nowhere.
You're going nowhere, right? You're going nowhere. Helping others is extremely important. Is extremely important. To see people succeed is very important. So if I can contribute to your success in life, I'm successful in return.
Yeah.
You see? So when you come to my dojo and you see right away, you recognize somebody like Sam as a senior student, how he carries himself, how all the kids, they love him. The grown-ups too, they like him. He's an example.
Yeah.
Right.
Honesty as well. Like he's so humble and quiet, and still like everybody notices him.
Yeah. So this is the idea. This is the idea. You never say what's in it for me.
Yeah.
Just say, how can I help?
Yeah.
Right? It's a different way of thinking. You have to reprogram yourself.
Yeah.
Into the Bushido code. You know, there's no such a thing as me. Because when you need help, there's nobody there to help you.
Exactly.
And you can't go through life alone.
That's correct.
Right? Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. If you are dealing with a professional, if you hire somebody and he has no respect for you, why should I hire the guy? Why should I pay him?
Yeah.
Respect. And it goes both ways. If I give respect, I will get respect.
Yeah. And also up and down the chain respect, you know, like also
up and down the chain. Exactly.
Respect
so you see, like when we're talking about the dojo, it's important how you respect senior students.
Yeah.
And in return, you will see the respect coming back from the senior student to you. That's why we say it's a system of senpai kohai, the senior and a beginner, and so on, and so on, right? So the sensei is the one who started before you on the path. We're all students of the path. We're all students of the path. But who started first? Right? So this is the experience and this is the seniority. It's simple as that. Justice. It's another important virtue.
Okay.
Right? Right or wrong. Right and wrong. It's very important. You have to think about that as a businessman, as a
correct.
You have to think about that. Is it right? Is it wrong? You see, and that's how you would have repeated business again. You see, courage. Courage. You have to be courageous to take risk in life,
and also
to stand up. To stand up for what's right and what's wrong, to take responsibility.
Even if you make like mistake, now there's so many people who say, you know, like, okay, well, this happened and this, okay, well, it wasn't my fault. Okay, well, I mean,
definitely.
People see it's your fault. Well, why would you turn around and say, yeah, well, this and that? Well, you do it once, maybe, you know, somebody would believe you and say, okay, well, you know, maybe this and that, but then you do it twice and like, okay, come on. What are we doing?
Definitely. This is extremely important. You can't just blame things on others. Right? But not you. You have to take responsibility. And again, learn from the situation. You have to learn from the situation.
Learn from them.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few more like shorter questions that I ask pretty much all my guests. So what is like your best? They're interrelated questions. Two of them are interrelated. So your best, and sometimes it's the same thing. The answer is the same thing. So, you know, your best investment in, it doesn't matter if it's in money, time, energy, doesn't really matter. But the best investment in terms of like overall return, regardless of ratio between invested whatever input and output, and then your best ratio in terms of like the smallest investment for the largest, you know, outcome. So if it's the same thing, it like for some people it's the same thing. For some people they say no, like to me like the biggest result overall is this, and then the biggest, you know, return on investment, ROI, is something, you know, slightly different. So if it's the same thing to you, like doesn't like
I will be in my case it will be different.
Yeah.
In my case it will be different because we're talking about martial arts and we're talking about the center. So the best investment for me is I invested in myself in martial arts. I dedicated myself to the study of my martial art. You know, going in many trips to the States to learn, going to Japan to learn, inviting them for seminars and camp here. That's an investment that I did. So this is the best investment for me. And the return is amazing. The return is amazing because you see how you touch so many people's lives, right? How you help people to look at things differently, how you help people to do things differently, how they developed, right? To me, I believe this is the best investment. So success, it varies.
Yeah, everybody sees it differently.
Everybody sees it differently. This is success to me, that I pass down my information, my vision to others. So this art or way or path stays alive for future generations. You know, there's a wise man that was asked once, that said once, if your plan is for 100 years, teach kids. Because they are the next generation and the generation after. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing.
Your favorite book?
My favorite book is The Book of Five Rings, The Goreno Show by Miyamoto Musashi. As you know, Daitorio and Heiho Nitin Ishiryu are strategy martial arts. It teaches you strategy. It teaches you strategy. That's how you develop. That's how you become better. Through the study of harmony and the study of strategy, through the techniques, right, of Daitorio and Nitin Ishiryu. That's how you become better as a human being in life. So this book is phenomenal. This book, professionals read it, executives read it, salespersons read it. Now, I read this book when I first started martial arts. I understood nothing. But when I read it today, as I practiced the same exact techniques of Nitin Ishiryu, I understand it completely different. So I strongly recommend this book for anyone who wants to succeed, develop, learn and master strategy. But on the other hand, I strongly recommend for them to study martial arts, to study Nitin Ishiryu, because it's the art of strategy. Like someone says, you know, it's 2021, why do we need to learn sword?
Well, exactly. That's
right. This is not the idea. The idea is, like I said before, those techniques are the ship that will take us to personal development, to learn the strategy, to understand this. So reading this book without practicing, you will understand something. Reading this book while you practice, you understand something completely different.
Yeah. And then again, it's timeless wisdom, in my humble opinion, that
definitely
applies, you know, regardless of how far we go to the other extreme of instant gratification and dopamine shots and this and that, and like everybody knows, like, okay, oh no, I gotta have it like 2 seconds. Oh, it's too slow. No, I can't. Like, yeah, but okay. You have to like keep on the path, like the book that I was telling you about that I'm reading, you know, Mastery, also by this guy Leonard something, you know, always also he says like similar, you know, you have to, most of the time during like learning, and you will spend on a plateau. Most of the time you will not see obvious progress, and then you'll have a spurt, but after the spurt, you know, you have a slight drop, and then you like the next plateau is a little bit higher, but still again you're like, so you have to learn like to love the practice. So that's what he was explaining as well, just like you. And yeah, I'm completely, you know, I agree completely with this, regardless of, as you said, not just martial arts, also like it's the basic, you know, through martial arts and wisdom and all this, and especially like a martial arts like daito, as you said, but also anything in life. That's the way it is. Like you have to, like,
you need strategy for everything.
Exactly, to keep at it, and then the spiral goes upward slightly. Yeah, I hope I help more people to realize that, hopefully. Your role model, I'm guessing it's one of your senseis, or
yes, definitely. Reading about Musashi Sensei, reading the stories about Takeda Sokaku, you know, who taught 30,000 people across Japan.
Wow.
You know, it's something.
Amazing.
It's something.
Amazing.
Yeah, definitely. You have to learn from those people, how they developed others, how they spread their art, their way. It's very important for us. There's many lessons to learn from them.
Yeah. Favorite quote? Like something that you like to remember, quote, tell.
Favorite quote? You caught me by surprise.
Yeah, that's the key. Or maybe, you know, something that you like telling, you know, like lesson, or, you know, something small.
I like to say that, and when you tell Constantin, he will laugh, because I repeat it often. I always say, slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yeah, correct.
I always say that in the dojo.
Yeah.
You said it too. We intend to go fast. We want to learn quick. We want to move on. But this is not the way. So slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
That's right. Sorry, it's very beautiful, very beautiful. My favorite quote from you is about the black belt. What is black belt? You know, white belt that never gave up. This is what
Yes. This is another one that I like to use, and you see, it sticks. It sticks in people's minds. It's like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
What do you mean by a black belt is a white belt? I just became black belt. How come I'm a white belt, right?
Yeah. But then
it's a path.
Yeah.
We have to understand.
Yeah.
Because you see, they want to have the next belt, and it's not a race. It's not a race, and there is no end. There's no end. Right. It's about the journey. There's another story about this man that lived near a mountain. And he always said to himself, I'd like to climb this mountain. I want to hike this mountain. But then finally he decided. So as he's about to go on the foot of the mountain, he meets a climber that's coming down. So he goes, how was it? He goes, it was very hard. And so listening to
other people,
the climber's experience, he says, like, this is very hard, you know, I shouldn't do it. He walks a little farther, he meets somebody else and he tells him the same thing. He walks a little farther, he meets somebody else and he tells him the same thing. And then he realized, you know, each one is telling him about his experience, his journey. It's all about the journey.
That's right. Yeah.
What is your experience? What is your journey?
Your own story. Yeah. You have to write your own.
Right.
Yeah.
So studying martial art, it's about the journey. It's about the journey, right?
You know, sometimes I've been like, I even had some arguments and stuff with some, you know, like an argument, whatever, with a person, and then he says he was maybe trying to like offend me or something, and he was like, you know, the things you do and like your approach and stuff, it's it looks really like a novice, you know, like you know, what you do, I'm trying to like to see it from the point of view that, you know, I see that you're a beginner, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt of the beginner because obviously you're not. And I told him, listen, like I'm proud of my, like I don't ever want to see myself as an expert, because the moment you see yourself, like that's the thing, like everybody tries to project to the world, oh, I have this achievement and I have this and yeah, but as you said, right, regardless how high you go, there's always higher. And the moment you say, okay, I'm an expert. So let's say like, if we go back to like the martial arts, you know, if a person says, okay, I want to take my black belt and I'm done, like I'm finished. So then like, there's no point even in taking a white belt because like you're missing the point.
Yeah.
So yeah. I completely
this is something that it's a Western thing.
Yeah. The goal, the objective.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to like.
It's a Western thing.
And then we're good. So yeah. We have to.
That's why the connection with the Japanese culture, it's extremely important. It's extremely important. I never met a master that said about himself that he's a master.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They have the rank. They have the movement. They have the techniques, but they tell you, you know, we're learning. We're students.
Exactly.
So yes, you have to change the way you think, the way it's all about reprogramming yourself.
Yeah.
We're all students of the path.
That's right.
We're all students. It just he has this many years experience over me, right? So he's guiding me.
Yeah.
And I'm guiding my students and so on, right? It's a Western thing. It's sad, you know, like when people sometimes they call me and they say, how many dans are you?
What does it matter?
You know, because you know, so and so is 7 or 10 dan.
Yeah.
Right.
This is good.
So it's lack of understanding how things, how martial art, how classical martial art work, right?
Exactly. Okay, but still, you know, nowadays, as we spoke, like people are so used to like instant gratification and short-term result and this and that. So, you know, sometimes you have to take a person, you know, from where they are and like try to take them at least, you know, to make them at least, you know, take the first step towards mastery. So having said this, if there were one thing that you would recommend, so let's say, you know, like obviously martial arts, like a lot of the people that are listening to my show are like outside of Canada, a lot of them in many other countries, maybe a lot of them don't have access to either Daitoryu or the little bit more popular Aikido, which I think is like pretty similar. So let's say for people who don't have the time or don't have access to this beautiful art, like if there were one thing that you would recommend for them to like daily a ritual or like anything that they could do, like either in the beginning, like in the morning or in the evening, or maybe morning and evening, like 5 minutes a day. If somebody said, no, listen, I'm like through like up to my nose in tasking, but at least if you could like offer one thing that would like,
yeah. There is, I want to say that there is always time. Yeah. If you want to do something, you will find time. Okay. I learned this from my late uncle. He was a general manager of a well-known hotel in Montreal. And he was working on his neuro-linguistic programming and life coaching. And he would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
To study.
Still struggling with
right? And work on himself. But it's because he has a goal. Yeah. You have to set a goal to yourself. So if you like something, if you want to do something, you will find the time.
That's correct. That's correct. So maybe now, find the goal maybe would be the advice. Like
find the goal. Find the goal. Most importantly, we all need to work on ourselves.
Yeah.
No matter what you do in life, how much education you have, you still need to work on yourself.
That's right.
To develop yourself. It's a fact. It's a fact. And
very good.
You can always find the time.
You're right.
You have to decide.
Find the goal.
You have to decide.
Yeah.
Right.
But then again, not like something, an end game, but a goal, you know, as you said, like for development.
Exactly. It's very important too that we don't have expectation, because when you have expectation and things don't happen, you're disappointed, right?
That's right. That's right.
Again, it's about the journey, about the experience.
Yeah.
You see? More. So nowadays with the internet, all the tools that we have that wasn't available to us before, you can learn anything you want from anyone, anywhere in the world.
Correct.
So if that's what appeals to you, then you can find a teacher or a guide, somebody's willing to take you down the road and show you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So, you know, okay, I appreciate that. Alrighty, a few more very quick questions and I'll let you go. So if you were to be able to put you know, these planes where they pull, you know, a huge banner across the sky, you know, they fly, like here in Montreal, we have them too, you know. So if you were to be able to put a huge banner, you know, let's say for everyone, everywhere to see around the world, like to write it in the sky, something, what would it be? A message, you know, anything.
A message to advertise our dojo?
Why not?
If it's a message to advertise our dojo.
No, it was rather a message to everyone for people, you know, anywhere.
Okay.
For growth, for, you know.
For growth. Work on your personal development.
Yeah.
Study the Bushido code. Study the samurai code. Try to apply it.
Yeah.
On your daily life.
Okay.
This is the message.
And the last question is, it's the same that Konstantin asked you. Actually, like I loved it so much that I'm reformulating it with each of my guests. So if you were, I changed it slightly, a little bit, but it's like, if you were to be like all your needs, yours and these of your family, like everything, you know, food, place to live, everything. Like if you didn't have to think about money and material at all, and if you were completely free to choose what and where to do, what would it be?
It would be what I'm doing now.
Right.
because I found my passion. I found it. So he asked me if I would win $1 million, what would I do with it? So if I win $1 million, I would buy our own building to have our own center to help people develop themselves to become better human beings, because that's what we need. That's what we need. Truly, when you look around you, that's what we need. We need people to become better. So the services would be better. They would be good at their work. Family relations would be better. Right?
Awesome. Amazing. Very good. Okay. That was very nice, Sensei. If there's anything else you want to like tell, share, story, whatever, you know, like feel free, please. If there's
Thank you very much for inviting me. I enjoyed the talk. It was very nice. I hope it was beneficial for the people that were watching. And I'm open for anything to help anyone any way I can. I'll be more than happy to do so.
Thank you. Hope many people from Montreal watch the episode as well, and we get even more support for the dojo. And one day you have your own building, and we will all enjoy it even more.
I hope so. I hope so.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sensei.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. Okay, bye.